Dear educators, welcome. I'm calling you educators not to impose a label on you. It's called an educators workshop, but I don't want to presume that because it's called like that you are that and you this is your basic identification. However, I call you educators because the invitation for those 3 coming days is that we get into a mode of playing once and like being once. Okay, so this is a frame, and this is an invitation to explore an idea, but from a perspective. And the game is such that you are an educator in a room full of young people, and we have selected a particular age group. We are speaking about a group of adolescents, and they just were born, I don't know, 12 years ago, 14 years ago. They are looking at you. Your job is to introduce them to living on this planet. Yes, that's basically education. What was it all about? What basically like a big what? And this is what the educator is. And you have been appointed for like a series of a few years. Do your thing, introduce them well. Okay, so that's the question. Okay, or basically your task for those 3 days.
Title of this workshop was how can we facilitate learning and cognitive development in adolescent in a truly noospheric way. And I wanted to start by maybe answer shortly what is the noosphere. So my outlook on this topic is the idea that we are embodied minds, and as minds we are mostly busy with 2 questions. One question is, what am I? And this was already resonating in the room quite a lot. And the second question is what I want, or what I may or can do, or how to live. And these 2 questions are very, very basic, perennial in our existence as minds. And one of them, the question of who or what I am, is, I would say, it's the question of what I would call more generally the question of being. And the second one is the question of becoming, because through doing, through wanting, through activity, and through living, we are becoming also. So, and these 2 questions are coming together. They affect each other. They are interacting synergetically, and they drive each other. And to this activity of these questions or processes of questioning, I call individuation, is how we are and how we become. So it's my understanding or my belief that everything about education can make sense only in the light of individuation. And this is basically my main point here. And how do we learn and teach to ask these questions and also to answer them? And I put learn and teach together because I think that we teach by learning and we learn by teaching, yes, in this educational context at least, but in all, in other events of life, all the same. So how we learn or teach to ask this question and to answer them this is for me pedagogy, and it is the facilitation of individuation.
Who from the in-person attendance would like to start the Raven Circle? what harmonies and disharmonies and chords are together making a symphony in your trio?
We were thinking and talking how to connect with individuals if it is very difficult for schools or systems to give a proper place for even groups with special needs, and how the one teacher can do it with a group of individuals.
We also noticed something that we were kind of presented as an axiom, which is that pedagogy is about individuation. And maybe that's part of the conversation, it seems, because at least it was invented as something opposite, right? It was invented as a way of like shaping a group of people, or you know, like Plato's philosopher kings, or you know, the ideal factory worker. You know, to become one of that group, you have to learn the language, or learn to use physics, or learn maths, whatever. But that's the assumption, is that, you know, it is there to kind of create a group that's similar, rather than, you know, assist people in becoming different, individual, unique, and so on and so forth.
As we think, we are just throwing a lot of ideas and on the invisible object, and we just try to see what sticks to the object, you know, and then we try to understand, okay, the invisible object, it might be a table, because it's, you know, something sticks on the top, something on some sides, you know, maybe it's a table. And but what makes ideas to stick to the object, especially when we are together trying to understand it as a group, you know, I think we think that it's something like personal stories, and it's much easier to really understand other human beings when we refer to our direct experience, and not only to talk about the theory itself, you know. So and very often when you have someone sharing with you some ideas, very often it's more important, the person is more important than the idea itself, you know. It's especially at school, when some people are just becoming mathematicians because they had an amazing mathematician at school, and the one that was able to explain them, you know, like, and make this lights up the passion inside of them. And there was a sentence that you mentioned, the sentence that I'm always in search of the moments where reality and imagination merge, and this is like quite interesting right now, how we gonna achieve it over here when we are talking about нооспhere, you know, where does it actually happen? So this is a good question on which I cannot find the answer right now, and probably no one can, but we can throw some ideas and just take a look what sticks.
So we have 3 ebook groups here and 1 online, and for each of those teams the job is to design and deliver a 25-minute teaching experience to another group. So this group, Venus 1, you know, they will send 2 people to teach their bit in the group number 2, right? Group 2 will send 2 people to teach their bit in group number 3. Group 3 is going to send 2 people, surprisingly enough, to teach in group number 1. Right, so there'll be an exchange. Yeah, that's that, but with 4 as well. Right, so 3 sends to 4. 4 are trying to be the hybrid teachers of group number 1. Thank you so much. That is very helpful, right? So that's one part of the task. Second part of the task is that you have some content to teach. It is not strict or imposed. It is just for the sake of making this more practical. So instead of teaching, you know, how to be a human being in general, you actually have a bit about groups or a bit about literature or a bit about whatever else, right? So that's the added context. There's a content that has been already created by humans somewhere. There's a fossilized bit of knowledge. Not everything arises organically in the moment. Some things have already arisen, and then they are for you to play with. And it's not, as you might assume, as you might imagine, it's not crucial. It's just to give your, your thinking a bit more grounding in the practical challenges of teaching. It's more important to focus on the way that you're doing this, right? So the whole ambition is to play with how do we make that teaching moment more noospheric.
20 minutes online?
Yeah.
Must be possible. Must be possible. You can do it. That must be.
No, so what are the other options? That's my question. So.
I'm just thinking, like, what would would this be kind of a Socratic dialogue with the students about who they would be and what relationships they would be in with others, just visualizing what it would look like.
Yeah.
Just like what we did now, or something different.
But with the forest, at least we're gonna feel beautiful. That's the point. Forest is always good.
And use it for coming back to needs, I think that it would be the dialogue about what needs squirrel, yes, what needs fruits and like that.
If it's an in-person group, you could space yourselves in a room, like get close to the ones that you need, right? And then, are there any others? Are there any others to notice the less obvious connections that actually, as a leaf, I need the trunk. It's just not.
Yeah, but it's already there. So I'm just feeding the, like the system, like the root, for example. So it would be very what you said, that for them to walk.
There is a space which we need to fill,
And they would have to just put themselves into relationships, like you said, according to their belief of their function, and they would have the conversation about those.
So let's say, we can use Miro, and they could just quickly,
Coming back to education, I also feel that the one stone in the river might also be, for instance, a teacher that changes like the way people look or the.
Oh.
So I also see it like that as well.
Okay, we have still been many things.
The person that changes
everybody a round of applause.
This stuff will do the continue.
I also like this somehow impersonating part.
Yeah.
So like in a theater, you're living it yourself, and nature is always a very old mechanism to relate yourself to nature. This kind of allegorical or archetypical kind of stuff, and maybe it's because we had too little time to really work out quietly the whole thing, getting more and more imbued by being this forest. And then suddenly the society came a bit abrupt, I think. It was a little bit short-circuiting what was going on. I think the idea is still viable and can work, but it needs a bit more time and a bit more accompaniment for facilitating to get into it, because you cannot just simply say, what is this in society?
No.
And I also felt that the learning was a very democratic process, because I learned a lot from them about nature that I didn't know. About moss, I thought it was always a parasite, but then and then somebody explained to me, but that was you, that it eats away a stone, so I also I'm learning from everybody here.
Okay, so we
Yeah, you all thank you for joining as a student.
Let's start maybe by getting up and leaving the chairs. Yes, we don't need them during this class. Is that right, Olga?
Yes,
yes,
okay.
I think so. Come closer, come closer.
And we can shine.
It's okay. We're gonna work on the shines. And, so, we're gonna do a little experiment. The bigger idea of relationships, what it means, how it feels, and how we can put it into words maybe, or how we can do something more with it than just experience. So the thing is very simple. We're going to start by walking around, and I'm going to give moments like stop, and then you stop and you look into each other's eyes. Okay?
So we need to find someone and decide with whom you would like to have this relation, this eye relationship.
Exactly.
It doesn't depend on the distance. You can be close and have this relation, or be in a longer distance. But the idea is to stay for a moment and then go around.
To feel it, to feel like who's there for you in that moment.
And wait, it's not. So we start with this.
We start with
Sasha,
this.
Sasha will make some stops.
I will say stop. After.
And the stops will be 2 or 3. Sasha makes 3 signals stops. But after that, we as a group are going to learn from each other when to stop and when to move. So it will be depends on our ability. So there will be no signals. The signals should be in our internal signals to stop. And this is the first part of the exercise. So look deeply and understand what's going on. I feel the others. But at the same moment, you're asked to understand your what you experience, your feelings, everything goes around. And if you feel that this is something important, you are discovered, it could be whenever, please write this word on the table. So
just during the exercise.
During the exercise.
But give it some time to
to
like after the first one, maybe it's soon to make a decision or localize it. Okay?
Yeah. Is it clear what to do? And the words should be in English to be understand for each other. So even if it's something in your local.
And the sign that we found a relationship is by looking into each other's eyes, or doesn't matter?
If depends, you don't have to. Maybe you can find.
It can be the one who's closest to you. It could be taken by me, so you have to pick someone else. Okay? Just wander around and look on the sign. Good?
It will take about 10 minutes.
Yeah. All right, let's go. And stop. Stop.
Feel less lonely and less crazy
That's great.
than when I came in. it really helps to be around the last night at dinner. The image we used was, there's this Titanic of the public or traditional schooling, Rob, that you mentioned, and we can all see it's about to sink, or maybe it is sinking. Maybe it has already sunk. Someone said, it was Ukadil, it's the monkey that's like jumped off the cliff, but it's still running.
Or the cartoon cat.
Or the cartoon cat, yeah. But it does feel lonely and crazy making to be in settings where you're on the Titanic and everybody else is just gorging themselves of whatever is left on there. And it's great. There's, the orchestra's playing and there's caviar. And meanwhile, you're off trying to build a boat, which is shoddy and built with whatever materials you have. And you're not sure if it's going to succeed or not. But that's where I've chosen to place myself. And so it's just very encouraging to be around others who are building other boats.
Thank you for hospitality. And it was just great to be here for me. And for me also, when you mentioned Clea and Buckminster, you are the projects which are just in the process of creation. And you invited us to, I understand, co-create it somehow through this experience. And at the same time, letting us learn. And it's just a beautiful experience and example also for me, because some similarities I see. We are the projects which is just growing at the moment, and for me it's a great example that we don't have to wait with creating experiences which would be transformative, and this is for me transformative. So thank you.
For me, it's this moment, this event, it's let's say new beginning, like another one. Like there was so many new starting points, but right now I can, I was a weirdo for a long time, so right now if I can see a lot of weirdos all around me, so it's really uplifting, so thank you very much.
It's really good to know that a place like this exists, because I didn't earlier, and it's nice to have that knowledge that there is a place to maybe go back to. I think this might be some kind of a beginning for me. And also I will leave with this idea of the mountain that can be moved. So thanks for that also, because somehow it sticks to my mind. I will see what will happen with this in a few days.
When I first heard about this meeting of minds, this weird group of weirdos that people called it, I was intrigued by the notion of being part of that, but at first I felt mostly as like an outsider, maybe judging certain people, certain situations, certain questions, but then gradually within the process I felt that I became part of that bunch. And so although I thought that the notion of the noosphere is completely abstract and I didn't understand, it sucked me in. And so now after the third day, I can say I feel proud to be maybe called a weirdo within this circle of people that I got to know and spend time with. So I'm really happy and thankful for the 3 days that I spent here.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. My name is Lineke Pisters, and I've just been here in the noosphere for 3 days, and it has been really great. Very refreshing, I would say. I have been very surprised by everyone, and it is a very, very safe space, but also, just inviting to explore. So it's really. How I would describe it is that there's a really nice balance between being and becoming. So that's what I would like to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start.
Okay, I'm Olga, and I'm totally unprepared, but based on this workshop, I learned that I don't have to be prepared. It's okay to don't know and to participate in the event that the people you don't know, and it's okay to be part of this world. So I'm strongly invite you to also to experience this in your personal space. So be invited. Good. Koniec.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm recorded.
Yeah.
Yes, we are recording? Yeah. Okay.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you die. No hell below us. Above a sunny sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
That was awful.